In this video, we are going to look at how to use VLookup function to bring the data from the large worksheet. As an example, let's look at their report that has some information about employee, and we need to populate the additional information. So on this report, I have employee ID and full name, and I want to populate department the employee is working in and the annual earnings. I have the download from the human research database for all employees in the company, and this download has an employee ID, employee status, exempt or non-exempt, department name, start date of employment, and the earnings. And it has this information for all the employees in the company. I need to bring the department name and earnings only for the employees on my list. And I'm going to be using VLookup formula to do that. First, I need to identify my lookup value. And it should be something that I know for each employee on my list, and it is available in a database download as well. And at the same time, it should be field that can uniquely identify the employee. I have the full name on my list, but I don't have the full name in my download from the database. I have the employee ID in my download, and I have it as well on my list for each employee. And this field is uniquely identified the employee as well. So I'm going to be using employee ID as my lookup value. Let's start working on putting together the VLookup formula to bring the department name information. VLookup, and then I'm reference to their lookup value on my list, employee ID, something I know, and then I need to identify the table array, the range that has my lookup value and their information I'm trying to populate. And my lookup value has to be in the first column of this range. So I'm starting with employee ID, and then I need to include the field that has the information I am trying to bring into my report, which is department. And I could have stopped on this column, but I know that I'm going to be bringing the earnings as well. So I want to highlight the whole region so I can use it for the formula to use to bring the earnings information as well. And it's a big table, so I don't want to drag all the way down. I want to be able just to go to the last cell of my data table, and I can do it by holding Control Shift or Shift command on the Apple products, and then I just hit down arrow, and it's went all the way down to the end of my table with their data. And then I need to populate the column index number for department. Let's see where the department is in the database download. So we start counting the column from their column that has lookup value, which is this one. So it's column number 1, 2, 3. So my department is in the column number 3. I'm not putting the reference to the cell. I'm putting the column index number, which is 3. And then I want to have the exact match for all my information. So I'm using false. And I was able to bring the department name for this employee. I want to use this formula to bring the earnings information as well as all this information for the rest of the employee on my list. So I'm gonna need to use some absolute references, but I need to use it right. So let's see what we need to do with our employee ID, the lookup value column. I need to be able to copy this formula to the right for the earnings, but still reference to the same column B, which has employee ID. So I'm gonna use the absolute reference to lock the column B, but I'm not gonna be locking the row 6 because I want to be able to copy this formula all the way down, and the employee ID be changed every time I go down, and have pulled the employee ID for each employee on my list. So I'm not going to be locking the row, but I need to lock the beginning and the end of my range. So I should be able to copy it to the right and down, and I will be using absolute reference for the column and row of the beginning and end of my range. And I'm going to be using the F4 for that. Let me put cursor here. F4 for the beginning of the range, and F4 for the end of the range. Now I log the whole range. So column index 3 is gonna stay the same for the all the employee when I'm gonna be populating the department, but it will change when I copy it to the right to populate the earnings, and I would need to change it manually. Let's first copy this formula to the right to populate the earnings. It still shows the department because it's referenced to the same column department in my database download. I have the column index number 3. Let's see where my earnings are, in what column, and what's the column index number for the earnings. We start with employee ID. It's column number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then my earnings are in column number 1, and column index number is 5. So my column index number is 5. And I need to change the 3 to 5. I still want to have the exact match, so false works. Now I populate the department name and earnings for this employee, and I'm ready to copy it all the way down by selecting both of the fields and dragging the right low corner all the way down. Now I was able to populate all the information for each the employee on my list. And that's all about the VLookup formula. But I want to edit this report and show all the employees in alphabetical order based on their full name. And I also want to highlight the employees with the earnings that less than 70,000. To do that, I'm going to be using the sorting function of Excel and conditional formatting function of Excel. Let's do that. Let's start with sorting. To sort, select the whole report or range you want to sort. Then in Home menu, you can find the sort and filter. And we will click on Custom Sort. You use it when you want to select the field you want to sort by. And we were gonna sort by full name. I'm selecting full name, and we'll sort by values, and our order would be A to Z. And you can sort not only text field, but the number or any other field. And there are different options you can use for that. Let's click OK. And it's sorted by alphabetically from A to Z. Make sure to include all the data on your report so everything will be sorted at the same time. Now I want to highlight the employees with annual earnings are less than 70,000. And I'm going to be using for that the conditional formatting. Again, select your report, click conditional formatting, and we're gonna use there are different options for conditional formatting, and you can specify different criteria how you wanna your formatting be based on. I will use the highlight cells, and I'm gonna put some rules for my formatting. So I'm gonna highlight everything that less than, so I click less than, and I'm gonna use this. There are different options for different colors. You can use light red, yellow, green. I'm gonna use the light red fill and format cells that are less than, and I now can specify the criteria, and my criteria is going to be 70,000. And I already can see the preview on my report. It's give me their all their fields that are less than 70,000, and I can take a look at that, and if it's work for me, I can click OK. So look at the condition formatting options and explore it. You can do a lot of rules. You can do top bottom rule, you can highlight top 10 or bottom 10. You can use different type of the highlighting and formatting to specify your selected values. And we're gonna practice conditional formatting more during different session.